Good morning. Some of you may know me, and some of you may not. But I'm the Samaritan Woman from John chapter 4. And I've come this morning to briefly share my testimony in hopes that it will help someone. I'm going to tell you a little bit about my background. And I have to admit that every time I share it, I'm ashamed of it. But again, I'm sharing it in hopes that it will help someone. First of all, I want you to know that I've been married 5 times. I went from man to man, looking for something to fill me up. I was looking for love. I was looking for peace. I was looking for security. I was looking for something to make me whole. I was looking for something. I felt like I had to have a man. I felt like I had to be with a man. On the day that my life drastically changed, I was living with man number 6. In our communities, we would all go every day and draw water. That was a social event for the women. I didn't have any friends. The women called me all kinds of whores and bees and everything in the book. I didn't have any friends. I didn't have anybody to talk to. I didn't have anybody to tell my problems to tell my deepest concerns to. I was the reject of the Samaritan community. Whenever the women saw me at the well, they would start giggling, and some of them would even throw things at me. And they would just talk about me. The men, when they would see me, they would immediately start whispering. I got sick of it. I got sick of it. And I actually started to commit suicide several times. But one day I decided, I said, I'm going to change my time. Because everybody would go in the evening, the coolest part of the day. And I decided I was going at noon because I got sick of it. I couldn't take it anymore. And on the night that I made that decision, I really decided maybe I should just kill myself. But one voice kept saying, go kill yourself, it'll be better. Then another voice kept saying, don't. I kept hearing the word life, love. So I ended up not taking my life. And so the next day at noon, I went to draw water. As I approached the well, I was startled because I noticed there was a man sitting at the well. He was a Jewish man. And I almost started to turn around and go back home. But I didn't. Because Jews absolutely hated Samaritans. And so I thought to myself, he's not going to say anything to me. And then I thought, men don't even talk to women in public without their husbands there. So I felt safe. So I went on to do what I had came to do. Got ready to draw my water. Then all of a sudden, I was startled again. This Jewish man, he said, give me a drink of water. And I looked at him, and I know I had an attitude. And I said, why are you asking me for a drink of water? You are a Jew, and I am a Samaritan, and Jews never talk to us. They wouldn't dare think of drinking out of the same cup with a Samaritan. And they hated us because they considered us to be half-breeds, spiritually and by blood. Jews didn't even come through Samaritan. They would go the long way, usually going from Jerusalem to Galilee. They didn't even come through our town. They hated us so much. And all of a sudden, he stood up. I noticed that every time he would speak to me, he said, if you knew the gift of God and who it was that asked you for a drink, you would be asking me for a drink of water, and I would give you living water. So I immediately snapped back at him, and I said, sir, this well is deep. Matter of fact, I heard it was about 85 feet deep. And I said, you don't even have anything to draw water with. Where would you get this living water? And I asked him, I said, are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us this well? and drank from it himself? It's like we were carrying on two different conversations. He looked at me again, and he said, those who drink this water will thirst again, but those who drink the water that I can give will never thirst again. And I'm thinking to myself, what is he talking about? And I said, well, sir, give me this water so I won't thirst again. Or give me this water so I don't have to keep coming to this well every day. And then he looked at me and he said, go call your husband. And I told him, I said, sir, I don't have a husband. And he said, ma'am, you are right when you say you don't have a husband. Matter of fact, you've had 5 husbands, and the man that you live with now is not your husband. I dropped my head. It was the most embarrassing moment of my life. I was thinking, how does he know this about me? Who is he? What is this? My palms were sweaty. My heart started pounding. There was a lot of fear there because I was constantly trying to figure out who is this. But I have to tell you that at the same time of feeling fearful and confused and afraid, I have to tell you that I've never felt such peace in the presence of anyone. Of the 6 men I had been with, I never felt this love that I was feeling. Something was going on the inside. It was still, though, an embarrassing moment. And I was still trying to think of something to say. But the only thing I could say is, sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. And it was still an uncomfortable moment. I was still trying to think of something to say. Still trying to think, who is this? He knows all about me. And so I thought I would bring up an old controversy, an old argument from the Jews and the Samaritans. And I say, sir, we worship on this mountain. But you people say that we have to worship in Jerusalem. And he said, ma'am, he said, the time is coming where people won't worship on this mountain or in Jerusalem. But he said, the Father is seeking true worshipers. And he's doing that now. He's seeking true worshipers that will worship him in spirit and in truth. And I said, sir, I know that the Messiah is coming. And when he comes, he's going to tell us everything. Then he said something. He turned to me and he said, I who speak to you am he. And I stopped in my footsteps. We didn't talk anymore audibly. And I saw his disciples coming. But I knew that my life was changing. I knew inside that this was the Messiah. I knew that this was the Christ that we have been looking for. So I just threw my bucket down that day and I ran, and everybody that I saw, I began to tell them, I met a man that has told me everything about myself. I met a man who knows all about my past. Of course, some of them didn't want to hear me talking about another man. But some of them did receive my testimony. Some of them ran and tried to find this man. And I want you to know my life changed that day. And other people's lives changed that day too, just from my testimony. And other people didn't want to hear what I had to say, but they went to seek this man out. And I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that this Jew passed through Samaria that day. And I want to say this to you today. I'm so thankful that when I met man number 7, he didn't dog me and judge me and tell me like the other ones had that I would never be nothing. He didn't reject me. He just loved me. And I'm so thankful. I want you to know that he didn't care that I was a Jew, a Samaritan, and that he was a Jew. He looked past my culture and my race. Unlike men, he just loved me. And I am so thankful today. He didn't care that I was a woman and wasn't supposed to talk to me without my husband. He just loved me. And I'm thankful today. He didn't care about all the wrong that I had done, all of my faults. He just loved me. And I am so thankful. And I don't know, your problem today may not be that you've gone from man to man to man to man, looking for that security, that love, whatever it is. Maybe it's not a man, maybe it's not a woman, but maybe you have gone from drug to another drug to another drug. Or maybe it's been alcohol, from one drink to the next. I don't know what it is. Maybe you go from one material thing to the other material thing, trying to fill up. I want you to know this morning that nothing can fill you up like Jesus can. That living water. I'm thankful today that he started conversating with me. I'm thankful today that I tasted that living water. Because when you get a sip of that living water, you will never thirst again. And I'm thankful that I didn't run away. I'm thankful that he had a reason for coming through Samaria. And I want to say this. He's still trying to conversate with you today. He's still trying to talk. Now, you may not physically meet him at the well as I did, but he's talking through the pages of the Bible. He's talking through his people, and he's still trying to sit down and have a conversation with you. And I leave you with this. Why don't you listen to him? Why don't you receive what he's saying? Because nothing can fill you up like Jesus can, like the Messiah. Nothing can fill you and quench your thirst like the living water. Receive him today. Hear what he's saying. Don't turn and run back. Listen to what he has to say to you. And I'm so thankful this morning that you allow me to share my story. I'm going to have to go back into the Bible now, but thank you for listening. If you want to read about my story, please go to John chapter 4. Thank you.